right. Hey guys, what's up? It's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. Today is
don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Give us 2 drug thumbs up.
Nate.
Drug thumbs up for
2 thumbs up, you guys. Thank you.
2 drug thumbs up for not to do drugs.
For not doing drugs. That's right. Good boy. Give me a kiss. All right. You guys ready? We're going to do the Narcotics Anonymous basic text. Step 2, you guys. Step 2 is what we're on. So last week, I'll do a quick recap. Last week we read at the beginning of how it works, and then we read through step 1. So basically, step 1 is all about surrender, you guys. We admitted we were powerless over drugs, that our life had become unmanageable. The program, the 12 steps are not just like an I thing. They're a we program. It's a joint effort. It's us coming together and fellowshipping and helping one another. One addict helping the next addict. So we admitted, okay? We were, past tense, because as long as I'm not putting drugs and alcohol in my body, I can make good choices. It's when I take those drugs and alcohol into my body that they set off the phenomenon of craving, okay? So I was powerless when I was in active addiction. Okay, I couldn't make the good choices. I was struggling. Okay, today in my sobriety, I have the power to make good choices. Okay, as long as I stay on the right path, I stay spiritually fit, I stay in connection with my higher power, which is God. And yeah, so we admitted we were powerless over drugs, and I say and alcohol because I am an alcoholic and an addict, you guys. I am powerless over all of it. If I take alcohol or drugs into my body, I am going off the chain. So, and hey to everybody in the chat. I see all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Seriously, y'all. It means so much to me. This helps me so much. Doing these with you helps me to stay sober. So if I didn't have you guys coming here, you know, I mean, I would still do it, but I would just be talking to myself. Hey Courtney. Hey, Tobias. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Annie. Hey, Cindy. Hey, Lou. Hey, Angel. Hey, Cindy. Hey, Gunny. All right. I think I got all you guys. Hey, Tobias. So I would still do these, but it makes it so much more fun when I have you guys to talk back and forth with, you know, and to interact with while I do the classes. So it really does help me so much. So I really, really appreciate you guys being here and just doing this with me. Okay. So we are on page 23. If any of you guys have a Narcotics Anonymous basic text and you want to follow along, we're on page 23 and we're at step 2. So I'm gonna start reading, okay? All right, y'all, let's do this. The second step, step 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So let's look up the definition of sanity. Sanity is a noun. The ability to think and behave in a normal and rational manner. So I'm going to write that down. The ability to think and behave. The ability to think and behave in a rational manner. And then it says sound mental health beside it. Sound mental health. We expect to achieve ongoing recovery. The first step leaves us with a need to believe in something that can help us with our powerlessness, uselessness, and helplessness. So, like I said, in step 1, we're admitting that we're powerless and that our lives had become unmanageable, right? And so just like it says in here, when we surrender in step 1, because that's what we're doing, we are surrendering. Then we're just kind of like left here like, okay, I'm waving my white flag. Now I need help, right? I'm saying and I'm admitting it. I'm surrendering. Okay. And so right here it says the first step leaves us with a need to believe in something that can help us with our powerlessness, uselessness, and helplessness. The first step has left a vacuum in our lives. We need to find something to fill that void. So right here it's telling us that we need to find something to fill the void, because if we don't find something to fill the void, right, or we just surrendered, then what are we going to do, you guys? We're going to go out there, we're going to find drugs and alcohol to fill the void again, because that's what we've practiced all of our lives. So now we have to find something else to believe in, to put faith in, and to trust that we can do this and that we can fill our lives with something other than drugs and alcohol. This is the purpose of the second step, to fill the void inside you. Some of us didn't take this step seriously at first. We passed over it with a minimum of concern, only to find the next steps would not work until we worked step 2. And that's how these steps work, you guys. You can't work step 2 unless you've worked step 1. You can't work step 3 unless you've worked step 2. And so on and so forth. You can't say, oh, well, I don't like steps 1 through 3. I'm going to skip those and go straight to my 4th step, okay? Because what will happen is you'll get stuck. And you cannot work the steps without a guide, which is your sponsor, okay? Even when we admitted that we needed help with our drug problem, many of us would not admit to the need for faith and sanity. We have a disease, a progressive, incurable, and fatal illness. We have a disease, progressive, incurable, and fatal. One way or another, we went out and bought our destruction on the time payment. All of us, from the junkie snatching purses to the sweet old lady hitting 2 or 3 doctors for legal prescriptions, have one thing in common. We seek our destruction a bag at a time, a few pills at a time, or a bottle at a time until we die. So it's a slow, gradual death. And that's what active addiction is. It's committing suicide slowly, you guys. Can you imagine? I know a lot of you guys have loved ones who are also active addicts. And this has really helped me to understand what it's like and what it was like for my parents to watch me go through active addiction. You know, seeing my husband struggle with his sobriety really scared me for a long time. I had so much fear and fear of losing him to the disease of addiction. I'm so grateful that he's sober today and has found his way. But you guys, it was a long time coming, and it's been a long, difficult road. And so having someone who I love who is also an addict has made me understand what it was like for other people to love me. You know what I mean? How hard it is to love someone who's in active addiction. It's such a scary experience, and that's what each one of our parents and loved ones have had to go through. This is at least part of the insanity of addiction. So this is part of the insanity, the getting high and buying drugs, basically one day after another, killing ourselves slowly. The price may seem higher for the addict who prostitutes for a fix than it is for the addict who merely lies to a doctor. Ultimately, both pay for their disease with their lives. Insanity is repeating the same mistakes and expecting different results. So let's talk about this right here. So right here it says, the price may seem higher for the addict who prostitutes for her fix than it does for the addict who is lying to doctors. So many times I will meet people who will come in and they will feel like because their addiction took them farther down than my addiction took me, that somehow that they were worse off, or that addiction is harder for them than it was for me. I catch myself comparing myself to other addicts and alcoholics too, because I'll say, well, I was on the needle. That person wasn't on the needle. And I'm here to tell you guys, like, just like it says in this book, like, addiction is addiction and it all freaking sucks. Like, we're all killing ourselves, whether you're killing yourselves with a needle, whether you're popping pills, whether you're smoking, whether you're snorting, whatever your vice may be, you know, your poison, your root of administration, we're all going through heartache, and it's hard inside of us. Like, well, I'm going to use an example. So you have me, who I was shooting up, and then you have Johnny right here, who is snorting dope with me. So he's snorting, I'm shooting, right? But we're both in the inside having pain. And that's where all this starts out. It's going on inside of us. We're all hurting and wanting to just die inside, you know? Just because I was shooting up and Johnny was smoking dope doesn't mean that his pain is less than my pain. All of us have pain. And that's what we all can come together and understand. That's why when, like, you guys are like, man, I was getting high, I was snorting this, I was doing that, I was doing this for this and that and that. Just because I was shooting dope doesn't mean I didn't do all the same things you were doing. We were all doing the same things in just different ways, right? But our pain was all the same. And I think that's what brings us together, to help and understand each other, is that we're all going through pain and we were all hurting, you know? And that's what makes addiction such a, I hate it so much, because that's all an addict is, you guys, is someone who is struggling, hurting in the inside. Someone who doesn't know how to cope with life and on life's terms, and is coping with drugs. It's an injured, a broken person. An addict is a person who is broken on the inside. Many of us realize when we get to the program that we have gone back time and time again to using, even though we knew that we were destroying our lives. How many of you guys knew you were killing yourself? Knew that you were ruining your life, but you kept getting high? How many of you guys have used drugs against your own will? Like, you did not want to get high. You used drugs because you had to. How many of you guys have been there where you literally wanted to stay sober so bad, but you didn't know any other way, so you kept using? Because that's what happens. It becomes such a working part of our mind that it's like we're using when we don't want to. We're using when it doesn't feel good anymore. We're using because that's how we are maintaining. It's not even enjoyable, right? And that's what happens to so many of us, is we cross over that line where drugs are no longer a luxury. Because it always starts out, I feel like, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, where you're kind of enjoying it at first, right? You still get the feel-good feelings, you still get the high, you still are partying and enjoying it, right? But then you cross a line where it's not fun anymore, and it's like you have to do drugs to function. That's what happens. It stops being something that you do for fun, and it becomes a necessity. It becomes as normal as breathing air. Can you relate? Can you relate? How many of you guys, woke up every single morning on the same time, the same person you called this? It's like the habit that you had was so ingrained that before your feet hit the ground, you were getting that dope. You know? That's what it is. It becomes that normal in our minds, and it's because we practiced it for so long. You know what I mean? Insanity is using drugs day after day, knowing that only physical and mental destruction comes from when we use. The most obvious insanity of the disease of addiction is the obsession to use drugs. The obsessing to use even when you know that if you get high, you're going to go to prison. Even when you know that if you get high, your kids will get taken away from you. Even when you know that if you get drunk and you drive your car, you're going to go to jail. Even when you know that when you're shooting up after somebody who has hepatitis C, that's how strong the obsession to use is. You will do things when you know that they're going to hurt or harm you or someone else. Ask yourself this question. Do I believe it would be insane to walk up to someone and say, "May I please have a heart attack or a fatal accident?" If you can agree that this would be an insane thing, you should have no problem with the second step. So, how many of you agree that this is crazy? May I please have a heart attack or a fatal accident? Just walk up to anybody and ask them. In this program, the first thing we do is stop using drugs. So the first thing we do is we take away the drugs. We get the drugs out of our system. We get the alcohol out of our system. Okay? At this point, we begin to feel the pain of living without drugs or anything to replace them. So true, because we have this huge void inside of us that we're filling with drugs and alcohol. Then you take the drugs and alcohol away from us, so that opens this wound inside of us that we've been covering up, right? For me, my insecurity, my low self-esteem, my low self-worth, trauma as a young child when I was growing up, trauma when I was a teenager, bad relationships, just shit, just life shit, right? Mental illness that I was covering up and not dealing with. So I'm using drugs and alcohol to cover all this stuff, right? And then I get rid of the drugs and alcohol and it's like an open wound, right? I just have all these problems and I don't know how to fix them. So that's what happens to a lot of us addicts and alcoholics is we get sober off drugs. And that's what we think. We stop right there. We think all I have to do is stop using drugs. But that's just the beginning. That's just the start of it, you guys. The hardest part comes next when you start having to work on all those things that you were covering up with drugs and alcohol, right? Man, I can remember when I first got sober off of everything and I came out of treatment, I was so scared for my life, you guys, because I didn't know what to do. All I could think about was getting high. And it was because I did not know how to live my life without drugs. I had no idea. No idea. And then so many people think that that's just the answer. The answer is to just quit, right? I can remember my dad saying to me over and over and over again, "Why don't you just quit? Why don't you just stop?" If it was that easy, I would have done it a long time ago. But just quitting, just stopping, that's just the beginning. That is just the beginning. In this program, the first thing we do is stop using drugs. So that's number one. Okay, I'm going to write a 1 by that. At this point, we begin to feel the pain of living without drugs or anything to replace them. The pain forces us to seek a power greater than ourselves that can relieve our obsession to use. Okay, so this right here, you guys, I have a lot of you guys that have just gotten sober, that are in your early recovery. You're 6 months sober or less, okay? And you haven't, you're kind of stuck at this point where you're like, okay, I'm not on drugs anymore, but I don't know what to do next. Okay, I've stopped using drugs, but now what do I do? Right? I still have all these thoughts telling me that I want to use, but I know I don't want to, but I don't know how to live my life any other way, right? So you're just kind of floundering at 6 months sober and just chilling and kind of like, it's like, oh, I don't know what I need to do. I don't feel like I have a place. I don't feel like I'm moving forward. And that's how I felt too. That's how I felt many times getting sober. And I would make it for so many months and then I would relapse. And what was missing for me, and this is for me, you guys, and I don't ever want you guys to feel like I'm pressuring you to do anything, but I needed something more in my life. And that's where the 12 steps really, really helped me. Because the obsession to use was so great that that's all I thought about all day, every day, 99 times a day. And so when I started working this 12 steps with my sponsor, that really helped to relieve that obsession. And it didn't happen overnight, but it was like it gave me something to put more effort into. It gave me something to have guide me along my way. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Rob. I was really struggling, like feeling like I had no purpose, and I didn't know how to like change my life. I didn't know how to live differently. Okay, even though I was sober and off drugs, I still didn't know how to live. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's what the 12 steps have taught me. They have taught me how to relive my life in a healthy manner. They've taught me how to set healthy boundaries. They've taught me how to believe in something other than drugs and alcohol. They've taught me to trust God, my higher power. They've helped me to gain faith. They've helped me to build healthy, strong relationships that aren't codependent. You know, they've helped me learn how to be consistent and follow through. This is all things, you guys, that I learned from the 12 steps. Like, I didn't know how to do any of these things before I just started working the 12 steps, you know? And that's why I really like doing these things with you and teaching you guys about it, because I want to inspire you to try the 12 steps too and get involved with a sponsor, you know. And if that doesn't work for you, there's other programs out there that aren't the 12 steps, but they're still, like, if you start going to therapy or doing like refuge recovery or smart recovery, I do believe that these things, they do teach these things to you in those recovery programs also. But this is just what I learned, you know what I mean, from this program. That's why I share it with you guys. So that's what the 12 steps do. As you work the 12 steps, the obsession to use will be lifted. Can you believe that? You will get to a point in your recovery where you're not thinking about drugs every day, all day. Because you're going to have a spiritual awakening. Okay? You're going to have a spiritual experience. All right? Some of you guys might not have worked the 12 steps, but you might have had a spiritual experience. You know, maybe some of you started going to church and getting really involved in your community and helping other people, and you can have a spiritual experience in that manner too. I know a lot of people who have. The process of coming to believe is similar for most addicts. Most of us lacked a working relationship with a higher power. We begin to develop this relationship by simply admitting to the possibility of a power greater than ourselves. So we start our relationship with our higher power by just simply admitting that there is some kind of something out there that's bigger than us, right? It might, whatever you want to call it, and that's the thing, you guys, it's specific to you. Mine is God, but that doesn't mean that yours has to be God. Gunny, I'm so proud of you. Okay, I know my friend Krissy, her higher power is like the universe and nature and love. I know my other friend Tim, his is altruism. I know my other friend who believes in just like, God, it's like, you know, Buddha, and that's her higher power. Like, everybody has like a different idea of what a higher power is. Like, you don't have to believe in Jesus Christ to have a higher power, just so you guys know, if anybody's confused. Okay? Most of us have no trouble admitting that addiction had become a destructive force in our lives. True that. Our best efforts resulted in ever greater destruction and despair. At some point, we realized that we needed the help of some power greater than our addiction. So that's what we're realizing now. We're realizing that we need a help from some power that's greater than our addiction, you guys. That could be anything. The power of this group, of all of us in one area at one time. This is a power greater than ourselves. All of us here together is a power greater than us. Our understanding of a higher power is up to us. See? No one is going to decide for you. We can call it the group, we can call it the program, or we can call it God. The only suggested guidelines are that this power, we don't have to be religious to accept this idea. The point is that you are open-minded to believe that there is something that is greater than you that can restore you to sanity. That's all you have to do is believe. Believe that I believe that you can be restored to sanity, okay? The point is that we open our minds to believe. We may have difficulty with this, but by keeping an open mind, sooner or later, we find the help we need. We talked and listened to others. We saw other people recovering, and they told us what was working for them. We begin to see evidence of some power that could not be fully explained. This is where the miracles come in. Confronted with this evidence, we begin to accept the existence of a power greater than ourselves. We can use this power long before we understand it. As we see coincidences and miracles happening in our lives, acceptance becomes trust. We grow to feel comfortable with our higher power as a source of strength. As we learn to trust this power, we begin to overcome our fear of life. And that's what we all have, you guys, fear. The process of coming to believe restores us to sanity. The strength to move into action comes from this belief. We need to accept this step to start on the road to recovery. When our belief has grown, we are ready for step 3. That's it. So that's all step 2 is, you guys. So you can believe. Do you guys think that if you don't believe right now, can you believe that I believe that you can be restored to sanity by a higher power? Because that's all it is. Open your mind and trust in the process. Okay? I believe that every one of you, if you put in the work and you give it your all, can be restored to sanity, and the obsession to use drugs and alcohol will be lifted. I have seen these miracles happen in many, many people's lives over and over and over and over again. Sometimes it happens at the beginning, the middle, the end. It happens for every person at different times. But every person that I've ever seen this happen for, they believed. They believed that I believed in them. Because at first they were like, girl, I don't believe in all that hogwash. What you trying to say? That some spirit's going to come down and blah, 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 and cure me of my addiction? No, that's not what I'm trying to say, you guys. And that's what people think that I'm trying to... No, it's all you have to do is believe. That's all, okay? And start building your relationship with a power greater than yourself. If that is you waking up in the morning and saying, power, thanks for waking me up this morning. Guide me today. Show me how to live. And then you're done. If that's you saying at night, thanks, power, for keeping me sober. Okay? I always look up because I think of my higher power as being all-knowing, all-seeing, loving, passionate, open-minded, and he's like looking over me as I go through the earth, right? He's guiding me. I'm like a little Sims character, right? And the power is up there. And he's just, Nicole's going to go over here and do this today and do this today. And that's what I believe, you guys. I believe that there's something out there that's watching over me. And the only way I know how to explain it to you is that it's God, because it's been a miracle in my life. I try not to talk too much about God on my channel because I don't want to scare anybody away from getting help, because I know a lot of people don't believe in that. But I have to tell you that something is in my life that's protecting me on this journey. There is something greater than me that's guiding me, you guys, and that's the only way I can explain it to you. I could not go one day without shooting drugs into my veins. I could not go one day without wanting to commit suicide and die. I was miserable. I was unhappy. I was hurting on the inside. I was broken. Okay? It is a miracle that I'm here today and that I even care about anybody else but myself. The only way I can explain it to you is that something changed me. Something happened in my life that changed me. A miracle took place in my life, and my whole outlook and belief in life has been changed. I never cared about anybody but me and dope, okay? When my son was born, I still was selfish and didn't care about anybody. Of course, I loved my son, but not like I should. I was selfish and self-seeking and focusing on drugs and how I could still change the way I felt. Okay? And hey, Amanda, something happened for me, you guys, in the process of having my son and then having him removed from my care that changed my life forever. You guys, hey, Shannon, I don't go to church every Sunday. I barely go at all. But I'm going to tell you guys, I talk to my higher power every single day. Every single day when I wake up, I ask for him to guide me in my life and help me to stay sober. Every morning when I wake up, I make a conscious effort to ask for guidance, okay? Girl, I don't know. I'm making a conscious effort to ask for that guidance and to ask for, something to push me and to help me make the right choices. You know, life is difficult, and things are going to get thrown at me that are going to throw me off course, right? But as long as I keep my faith in my power, in the power greater than me, and stay doing the next right thing, that is what helps me stay sober. And that's the only way I can explain it to you. But when I first started doing the steps with my sponsor, I did not believe in anything, you guys. My higher power and I were we were so estranged from each other. Like, I didn't even know how to talk to him, okay? But it's just been practice over time for me, and it really has helped me to change my life for the better. I went from being obsessed with drugs. All I could think about was using all the time. And I know you girls can relate, and you guys, where all you do is think about drugs all the time. But now in my recovery, it's like, yes, every now and then, one of those thoughts will come into my mind, like, oh, it would be a great idea to be every day. And that's a miracle. That is a miracle, because it was torture. It was hard, It was very, very hard, you guys, to keep going forward when all I could do was obsess and obsess and obsess. And my sponsor would keep telling me, Nicole, just hang on tight. Just hang on tight. Don't give up. Don't let go. You're doing the right thing. Just follow it's a process. Just follow the process with me. Just stay on course, because that's what would happen. And I think that's what happens with a lot of us addicts and alcoholics, is we give up. We give up before everything starts kind of getting a little bit easier for us, No, thank you anyway. I appreciate it. We give up before things happen for us. And that's something that they said to us in the meetings, is they would always tell me, don't give up before the miracle happens. Don't stop. Yes, that's what it is, Stephanie. Because we would want, thank you, appreciate it, have a great day. We would want everything to happen right away. Like, I need this right way, right now, right? And I think that's what happens for so many of us, is that we get so we want life to just get better right away. And that's how I have always been all my life too, you guys. So that's why I can relate. I would get sober, and I've done this many times in the past, where I would get sober and I would just feel like things just weren't going fast enough, I wasn't feeling better quick enough. I wasn't getting my jobs back. I wasn't able to buy a car and that's what I always, you guys, that's what I would always base my how I was doing off of. Do I have a job yet? Do I have a car? Am I living on my own? And for a drug addict like me, who is homeless, lost all my jobs, it's slow going at the beginning. It's slow. It's a process being able to become employed again, getting felonies off your record, getting your family members back. That was another thing that I would really get bummed out about, because I would want my parents to trust me right away, right now, right here. And they would be like, don't bring her over here. Put your wallets up. Hide your purses. Nicole's here, And I would be so upset, because I'd be like, I'm sober. I'm doing good. Why don't they trust me? And it's like all those things happen over time. It takes time to rebuild those relationships. It takes time to become employable again. I had to build up a resume, you guys. I had to get little dinky jobs that I didn't really like working, and stay there and actually work at that job for 6 months, so I could have a resume where people would say, oh, look, she has a good work ethic. Because in my addiction, all I did was run around and get jobs and get fired for being high all the time. How many of you guys, I mean, listen to me, Amanda. Girl, I've lost so many jobs because I'd go into my job high as hell, and then I'd get shit canned. Do you guys know in 2013, 2014, you could ask my husband. His dad was filing taxes for us back then, and I had like 20 W-2s or whatever they're called because I had so many dang jobs, because I would go in there high and get fired. Then I'd go and because when I would go into these jobs, you guys, I would have every intention of working and being the best worker, right? I would go into the interview and do great and get hired because I'd be sober, right? I'm sober at the interview. And then I'd go in high as hell. I'd go in for a week, maybe I'd be sober for a couple days, and I'd work really good, and they'd see how well I was doing and say, wow, she's a great worker. And then the next thing I know, girl, I'd be high because I was like, okay, they know I'm a good worker now. I can go in here and just let loose. And I would lose my jobs every single time. So anyway, I'm on a tangent right now. I wanted to talk to you guys and share that step 2 with you. And next week we'll do step 3. But this is how simple it is in the steps, you guys. Step 2 is just coming to believe in a power greater than yourself. Okay? And that power, like we said before, is specific to you. Hey, Megan. Love you, girl. How you doing? That power is specific to you. And what you believe and how you believe it, that's on your time, okay? That's on your time. And don't rush it. Take your time, okay? Just trust. If you have a sponsor and you guys are starting the steps, okay? Listen to me. And you are like, Nicole, man, I don't know, like, I haven't talked to my higher power in years. You know, I'm not really that spiritual. That's okay. You don't have to be. I'm not either, you guys. I'm not either. Like I said, whenever I got sober, I hated God. I was very, very estranged and didn't talk to him. The only thing I talked to him about was when I was praying for him to get me out of the jail, right? Dear Lord Jesus, please get me out of jail. Amen. That's it. Or, dear Lord Jesus, please let this shot get me high as fuck. That's what I would pray for. Are y'all hearing me? I would be praying about my dope. Make sure my dope was good. Big mistake, Tobias. They will change your life. And as you're going through the steps with your sponsor, you guys, I'm telling you, like, you will see the change in your own life. Do you understand me? And other people, what's the best part about it, you guys? The best part about it is when other people start coming to you and saying, I see the change in you. I see that you're different. I see that you care. I see that you're doing better, Nicole. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you that you're sober. I remember the first year I was sober and I went to visit my dad and my mom in New York. They paid for me and Neil and Nate to take a train up to New York to see them. And my parents hadn't seen me in a couple of years because I was high and they moved to New York. And I remember my dad, it was like seeing me with a year sober was the confirmation, and he could see me there in front of him, and I was sober and I was happy and I was thriving and doing well. And I remember him just being like, hey, I'm going to take, this is my dad's way of showing love is taking us out and buying us like something nice or taking us on a vacation. I want to take you and Neil out and buy you something. Let's go to the Coach outlet. So he took me and my husband to the Coach outlet, and he bought Neil a wallet and he bought me a new purse, right? And having him recognize that I was sober and that I was doing the right thing and that I was making the changes, that was like the confirmation that I needed, that I got to keep on this journey. I got to keep working my 12 steps, and I got to keep like looking at my behavior and making changes and staying connected to God and helping other people and seeking my higher power daily. You guys, like, I cannot tell you, I see, and I say God loosely because it's higher power, okay? I see my higher power working in my life every single day. And you will start seeing him working in your life also, because he shows me these God moments by sending me people like you who come in and say, I watched your video and it inspired me to change my life. That's a huge thing for me. Whenever I hear somebody that found my channel and they are getting sober because they were like, I've been watching your videos while I was high, and I'm finally making the choice to change my life. I mean, that's God. That's the only way I can explain it to you guys, is that's a miracle. You know, that's a miracle. He brings each person to this channel because it's a miracle. How else would we find each other? How else would we all be connected if it's not something that's greater than us bringing us together? Do you guys see what I'm saying? I'm telling you guys, it's a miracle. God will nudge me. He'll nudge me, right? He nudges me with certain people on my channel to reach out to them further, right? Not every person I feel this feeling, but sometimes I'll have this feeling where it'll say, you need to reach out to that person. And so then I will. And then I'm like, hot damn, that was a good thing. And the only way I can explain it to you is that it's not me that's telling me to do this, you guys. It's something else guiding me and telling me, hey, you need to check on that person. You need to check on this person. You need to email this person. You need to harass this person, you know? And you guys, like, sometimes I'm only human. So sometimes when I hear that voice telling me, maybe I'm laying in bed, maybe I'm being lazy that day, maybe I'm tired, and I won't listen to the voice. And then when I don't listen to that voice, I feel like shit. But when I do listen to that voice, and I get up and I text message so-and-so, or I send them a message on Facebook, and then it's like, Nicole, thank you so much. I was going to call you, or I needed to talk to you, or I didn't know how to reach out, and then that's like a miracle. That's the only way I can know it's a miracle. That's the only way. Like the other day, Tobias text messaged me on Facebook, and I saw his message, and I said, are you okay? And then I didn't hear anything else back from him for days. And so I went into my messenger like 3 days after that, and I was like, fuck it, I'm calling him. So I pressed call on the messenger, and like, who do you know that just calls people out of the blue that she doesn't even really know? And I'm like, what are you doing? Are you okay? Like, and that's just because something told me. Like, I'm telling you guys, the only way I know how to explain it to you is that God told me to call. That's the only way I know how to explain it to you. Okay? He does that with me on a lot of you guys. He says, call that person, text that person, message that person. Sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't. But when I do, you guys, I'm telling you what, it's the best thing in the whole wide world. You know, it's the best thing. Tobias, I'm so proud of you. I'm so, so proud of you. And I love you so much. And I just want you guys to succeed in your own recovery. I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to be able to come on here and say, you guys, I did it. I'm sober 6 months. I got a job. I got my own place. I'm doing this. I'm doing that, right? Like, I want you guys to be able to come back and share your testimony whenever you get your shit together, right? But I have to remind you guys, like, don't get discouraged. Like I said, I have to stress this to you guys so much. It has taken me every bit of 4 years to get to a place where I can come on here and share my journey with you guys. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's taken me every bit of 4 years to get to a stabilized place in my recovery. Okay? I want you guys to understand that. So if you're sober a year and you don't feel like you're where you need to be, don't stress out and don't overwhelm yourself. Take your time. Okay? I can only tell you guys this so many times. It took me 12 years to share my... See, Beck? It takes everybody different. See? Like I said, it has taken me every bit of 4 years, you guys, to get to a point where I feel confident that I am making the right choices today and that I actually have something to share with you guys. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then also, it's also taken me 4 years to get to a point where my life I got my bills paid. I got my vehicle. I got a job. I got my legal issues all straightened out. Because you guys got to understand, when I came into my recovery, I had so many fines. I had so many, my driver's license was suspended like 3 times over. I had to pay so much money to get myself legally straightened out. Do you know what I mean? And so that takes time. And so 6 months, a year, that's okay. That's normal. What you do is you make yourself some small goals to accomplish. And that's what you do. You just build up. Each week you make a small goal to accomplish that week. A small goal that you can accomplish that will add on to a bigger goal that you have. Okay? And that's how you're going to make it. You got to take it slow, one day at a time. Do not get overwhelmed. Do not get trigger happy. Don't take your time. Okay? Stay the course. That's what they say. Stay the course. Don't go running off, because it takes time. It takes time, you guys. I cannot stress to you guys enough that it takes time. You know, if you get an opportunity and you're struggling and you get an opportunity to go somewhere where they can help you stay sober, take every bit of that opportunity and sit there and chill out. Sit there and be still. Okay? Yeah, Stephanie. Okay, so that Stephanie brought up a good point. Hey, Big Easy, being on Suboxone, being on methadone is not enough to stay sober. You are going to be, if you get on Suboxone or methadone and that's all you do, I'm telling you guys, you're going to be miserable. You're going to feel the same way you felt when you were in active addiction, because you're not working on anything that's going on in the inside. That's what it's all about when you get sober, right? When you're getting into recovery, you're all the things that you lost because of your addiction. Recovery is about gaining those things back, okay? So when you were in your active addiction, you lost your mind, you lost your house, you lost your kids, you lost your self-confidence, you lost your self-esteem. And in recovery, we're building and working to gain those things back. Hence the name recovery, okay? Because you're recovering the things that you lost, okay? But if you just get on medically assisted treatment and don't work towards recovering any of those, all the things that we've lost, then all we're doing is sitting in the same situation where we started out at, right? So that's why it's so important for us to get involved. Get involved with other people who are sober. Get involved in recovery programs. All these things, okay? It's so, so important, you guys, because support is the number one thing. I'm telling you what, if I didn't have a support system when I first got sober, I don't know if I'd be sober today. You know what I mean? And so that's another thing that happens with a lot of us addicts and alcoholics is we get off drugs and alcohol and we think, and we talked about it tonight in the book. The first step is taking away drugs and alcohol. That's the first part of it. That's just the beginning. That is just the tip of the iceberg. Because here's the thing, you guys. Drugs and alcohol, they were not our problem. They were our solution. We are the problem. We have to make changes inside of ourselves. We were just using drugs and alcohol as a medication, a way to medicate ourselves, right? And so getting off of drugs and alcohol, that's just the first step of everything. Because after you get off drugs and alcohol, then we have that big giant void inside of ourselves. Because we've taken away the very thing that we used to feel better, our solution. Have y'all ever heard that saying that, you know, drugs were our solution? They were a solution to our problem, ourselves. I'm the problem, me. I have these things and these feelings and these insecurities and these obsessions inside of me, and I use drugs and alcohol to cope with those things, right? So it just takes time, you guys. So don't get discouraged. Don't get overwhelmed. You know, take it one day at a time. Whatever your means to recovery is, whether it's you getting in treatment and getting sober, whether you go, and listen, here's the thing. I never want any of you guys to suffer. So if you can go into detox and go and get detoxed by a medical professional, go and do that, you guys, because you shouldn't have to suffer and be sick and be in pain. But if you can't, and you're struggling and you need help and you're sitting at home and you're going cold turkey, right? You can always come here and have support from us, right? But in today's day and age, in 2019, you don't have to do that, okay? There is help available. You can go to the emergency room and they can help you and give you medication that will help you go through that a lot smoother, so you don't have to torture yourself. And that, I'm so grateful for that today, because I'm tapering off Suboxone. Y'all better believe it. If I get down and I jump and I don't feel good, I'm taking my detox, and I will sit in there so they can monitor me and hook me up and make sure that my heart's beating okay and that I don't die. Because we don't have to. Here's the thing. A lot of people think, oh, I have to go cold turkey because that's the way you have to do it to get off drugs. Like, there's so many resources out there today that nobody has to put themselves in that dangerous situation. And if you're coming off benzos, do not ever jump off benzos cold turkey.
Mom? You
can die.
Mom?
Yes.
Black holes are real.
What?
Black holes.
Oh. You ready to take a bath?
Black holes control the universe.
Please, you guys, listen to me when I tell you. If you jump off of Xanax or Klonopin or Valium,
Mom,
cold turkey, you can have a seizure and die. Do not do it, okay? And alcohol. What, baby? Black holes are real. I know, they're in the universe.
Tell them that they can.
Please, you guys, don't do that, okay? I've seen girls in jail that have been in jail and had seizures and hallucinations and almost died because of alcohol and benzo withdrawal. So please be careful, okay? I have to tell you that because I love you guys, and I don't want anyone to get hurt. And so I feel like it's my duty as a person who talks about recovery on my channel to let you guys know that there are resources out there. There's no reason why you should be suffering or struggling, okay? Get medical help. I know, and you guys, if you guys didn't go and watch the interview that me and Dr. B did, go over there and watch that. And then I linked his podcast in the comment sections, and I was listening to him too, Annie. And I will let you guys know, Nate, I'll let you guys know when I go on the podcast with him. I'm super excited about it.
Mom, when's my birthday?
Do you understand what I'm saying? I just want you guys to be as careful as possible, and as somebody with a platform who talks about recovery, I just want you guys always to take the best route and be very, very careful and protect yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, I don't give medical advice either. You know how we go over here. I'm not giving out medical advice. These are just suggestions. I am not a medical professional. I'm just a drug addict who's in recovery, who what I do, you know? Hey, Beck. Oh, girl, yeah, you're cool here, girl. You're fine. I think I've seen your channel before, actually. Somebody was talking about your channel on a live stream last night, and I went over there just because I went over there to see your channel. I think I'm subscribed to your channel.
Mom?
What, baby? You have a channel, right, Beck? Or am I tripping? I could be tripping. Girl, there's so many people over here on this YouTube, I can't even keep up. Who was talking about your channel? Somebody was talking about your channel. I think you had a video up that said, YouTube famous. Okay. I did. You know what? I used to say that. Y'all know how Peter Mon goes. I'm YouTube famous now. Did any of you guys go over and watch? Oh, girl, don't feel bad. I am too. A lot of people make videos about me, like talking shit about me and stuff. So we just gotta let them do what they're doing, because obviously we're doing something right, right? If people are talking about you, then you're doing something right. Did you guys go over to see, so I watched the Rewired Souls response to Smoky Glow after I got off the phone with you guys. Oh, and I think that I think he's missing the point. And this is my criticism, you guys, with Chris from the Rewired Soul. Sophia girl, I seen your comments on Smoky Glow's channel. I was waiting for you to pop in tonight. Here's the thing with Chris. It's his delivery. And I've told you guys, I used to be the same way. If you guys go back about a year into my videos, okay, you will hear how different I was a year ago. I was very aggressive when I shared about recovery, and I sounded like Chris. That's the only way I can explain it to you. And it wasn't because I was coming from a bad place. It wasn't because I felt like I know it all at all, you guys. It was because I was, honestly, I thought I was helping. And then what happened was I took a step back and I looked at the way people were responding to what I would say. And people were not getting help. Okay? They were turning away. But I had to look at myself. And that's one thing I don't think Chris is willing to do. So I looked at my own behavior and I realized I'm turning people away from the program because I'm so aggressive about how you've got to do it. Y'all, I'm serious. If you go back a year and a half or so, you'll see. I was very aggressive with the way I spoke about recovery. And it was not helping people. It was turning them away. Okay, and so now I've changed, and I try to be very understanding and compassionate, and I'm still very passionate about what I say, but I really, really try to come across in a more loving, non-condescending, non-know-it-all kind of way, because I don't know it all at all. I'm just learning, just like you guys. Like those step studies that we do, I'm learning with you guys. We're learning together. We're reading the book together. Like, I'm not a professor. I'm not a professional 12-step person. Like, I just love that and want to read it with you guys. Okay? And I think that's what's happening with Chris, is that he doesn't see that it's his delivery that's turning people away. And it seems like he thinks he knows it all. Like, I'm very transparent, you guys, about my recovery, about my whole purpose here on YouTube. Like, I want to help other people. I'm not a certified recovery coach. I'm not a certified sober coach. I'm just an addict sharing my experience. You know, I have a Patreon, but it's just a way to support me, and we support each other. Like, my Patreon is just women supporting women, and those girls help me, and that's all. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like what has happened with Chris is he's turned into this walking salesman, you know, and it's all about selling and selling and selling and selling and writing books and selling and selling and selling. And it's just like, you lose that. It just becomes overkill, you know? It just doesn't feel genuine anymore. It feels like he's lost his want to help others, and it's more about what he can do to make more money. Do you know what I'm saying? And listen to me. We all want to make money. We all want our channels to grow and to do well. I mean, of course I want my channel to grow. But I have to stay true to who I am and what I'm doing over here on my channel. So I just feel like that Chris kind of lost that a long time ago, you know? He lost that, like, he lost it, you know? I have to keep my focus. And Stephanie, it's easy for me to get off track. Like, I was just talking about that the other day. I was like, I want my channel to grow so badly, you know? And I want all these addicts to find my channel, right? And then I was like, Nicole, just stay focused. all in good time. People will find your channel. The people who need to find my channel will find my channel. I have to stay true to what I believe in. I have to stay true to it. I cannot, like, do you understand what I'm saying, you guys? Like, my channel isn't about, you know, me being famous or me, I don't know how to say this any other way. I'm not an influencer. You know, I'm not a person who you guys are going to, like, that's not what I'm trying to do here. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And I'm not shading anybody who is an influencer or whose channel does center around those things. That's just not my mission. That's not my journey, you know? My journey is I want to help other people that have addictions. And so I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, if I ever do merch, I really want to do real talk recovery shirts. But if we do merch and we sell the shirts and people actually buy them, then we could take the money that we raise from the shirts and pick one person who needs to go to detox or needs to go to treatment and use the money that we raised from the shirts to help somebody go to treatment. Wouldn't that be so freaking awesome? Like we did with Ian. Wouldn't that be the shit? Imagine, and we could all be in on helping these people find help, you know? And with the amount of people that I talk to every single day who are looking for help and who do need treatment, like, I would know the person. So it wouldn't be like I was just picking some random person out of nowhere, right? I could, like, get to know these people and make sure that, hey, we want to use the money that we raised from the Real Talk Recovery shirts to send these people to the right place, you know? And most likely it would only pay for, like, detox or pay for them to go to, like, a halfway house. But that's why we would make sure that the Real Talk Recovery fam gets to know each person that we use a little bit of money for, you know? That would be so cool, Stephanie. I might do that. I could print up a whole bunch of them and then I could mail them to you guys who are in Suboxone and methadone clinics. That's a good idea. That way we could help people who need touch. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's just my little low idea. It takes time for all these things to come to fruition, if y'all hadn't noticed. But the only way I know how to explain this to you guys is that I'm praying. I pray over on the channel. I pray over what we're doing. I pray that God keeps us all. Like, this is a group of people, right? Hey, Tobias. Hey, Keith. What kind of, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so if I did shirts, listen to me, you guys, I would want them to be that soft, like vintage feeling t-shirt material. And then we could literally just, I don't know. I wouldn't put it like big. We could just put it on the, like, side right here. It says Real Talk Recovery. That way you can wear it anywhere you wanted to. Do we have any artists here? If there's any artists here, let me know. And then you guys can literally help me design them. And then once we design them, we can sell them. And then when we sell them, I will count the money here with you guys and you guys can see it. And then I'll pick somebody who needs to go to detox or needs rent money for their halfway house. So you guys, if you guys come up with a cool idea, let me know. Okay. And we'll do it together and we can help somebody find treatment. Okay. We'll talk to her and see if she has a good idea for Real Talk Recovery t-shirts. I'm going to tell you guys, I had reached out to a girl who I really thought we were cool. And I had asked her to help design like a banner for my channel. Hey, Nikki. And like all this stuff. And then the next thing I know, I saw her talking shit about me on this other girl's channel. And I thought, hey, I thought we were cool. Do you see what I'm saying? You know what? Okay. What about this idea, you guys? What about like a tattoo? Okay. Do you guys know the tattoos that have the banners across them, the hearts? with the dagger and then the banner, and they usually have somebody's name on there, like the old school flash tattoos, only Real Talk Recovery across it. Hey, Nick. Sure, Nick, we're gonna launder money. Bye. I think that would be so fun too. And it could be like I was saying, the heart, like the old school flash tattoo hearts. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Or think about this. The skull and crossbones idea, but only instead of a skull, it have like a signet, like a seal with the swords going in the background that says Real Talk Recovery. What do you think about that? That would be cool too. You guys, we'll get it together. Did y'all see Mr. Nick make a entrance? Wonder one of his alt accounts choke on a deek. That's the thing. It's like he doesn't realize that I know all of his alt accounts because he's been stalking me for literally a year. Look, it says it right here. Choke on deek. I think that would be badass. Yes, I think it would be too. I'll message you on Instagram, okay, Stephanie? So anyway, I think that would be a cool idea. And like I said, you guys, I would be totally transparent. And like if we sell the shirts for like 20 or 25 bucks, you know, I'll take all that money that we raise and I'll show you what percentage we use for this and that and the other. And that's the thing, you guys. I'm always going to be 100% transparent with you guys about anything. If you want to support me and you want to support my channel, you can join my Patreon. And that's Legal Beagle, real deal over there. It's not money. It's not me just coming over and crossing hands. It's like you pay into a subscription. So if any of you guys want to do that, you're always more than welcome to. If I do get any guys that join, I'm going to tell you guys, if I get any men that join Patreon, I'm going to have a guy that's going to be helping me with all the guys. So that way, but you'll still be getting content from me, but you'll also be having one of my friends, a guy friend of mine that is in recovery that will be helping out too. So anyway, I'm always going to keep it real with you guys and be completely transparent about anything we do. You know, my intentions on my channel are not to take advantage of anyone or hurt or harm anyone. I literally love doing this on my channel. I love helping you guys. And I'm trying to look at the bigger picture. You know, I have a good life. I'm not rich, you know, but I have a stable job and my husband has a stable job. You know, if I can make t-shirts, hey Alicia, and help somebody else get into detox or something like that, like I would really want to do that. And so, you know, or if we don't want to do that, you know, we could do just like we did with Ian. We can just raise the money on PayPal, and that's what we did last time. So whatever you guys want. I just think that if we did the t-shirts, we could at least be giving it back to you guys. You know what I mean? If you got a t-shirt, you'd be getting a t-shirt, not just giving me your money. You know what I mean? So anyway, I love you guys. I know, like, I don't want to just go through like Teespring. I want the shirts to be like soft vintage material. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? I know you guys know what I'm talking about. I want them to be like distressed kind of looking too. That would be so cool. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to sign off here. I need to go pee-pee. And Stephanie, I'm going to message you on Instagram, okay? I love you guys. See y'all tomorrow.